Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Coffee and Cannoli. Once again, we got the four-way round table again. We got Campo, say hello. We got the captain of the show, Caps, right below Campo over there. And we got the Puttyman once again. We got the Fatal Four-Way once again. And this is to tag on, so to speak, onto our last episode. We're going to be doing a list of top 5 favorite WCW wrestlers. So, without any other explanation, who would like to go first on this one? Let's go Campo then. That way.
In
Campo.
typical marinara fashion here.
We got a tie.
I have dumped my sauce on number 5, and it's a tie between Eddie Guerrero and DDP. That's it. I'm not explaining
it. Yeah, that's fair enough. So we'll go Caps. You're next then.
Well, my number 5 is Flair. I am not a fan of Ric Flair, but during that whole time, he was pretty friggin' entertaining. And to this day, one of my favorite, is it a GIF or a GIF?
Mm-hmm. Whatever you want to call it.
That's whatever. A podcast for itself.
Is when he's down to his undies.
When he strips all his clothes off and he starts dropping
and then
the
he does that. Yeah, he'll
suit.
go from rope to rope and do that crazy walk. Yeah, that's pretty legendary.
That is pretty legendary. Buddy.
My number 5 is Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. My number, I think this is the first time in a long time I've got a Caps on mine. I'm tied with DDP and Conan for my number 5.
We were kind of close. Conan was in my argument there.
I couldn't not put Conan. Just in the last episode, we touched on Conan and how entertaining he was, and I don't think that Wolfpack would have been what it was without Conan.
He added, I know it sounds really bad, and I don't mean it that way, but he added, a gangster type aspect, because that's, what his character was.
Yeah.
And none of the other guys felt like that, really. Well, maybe Scott Hall, kind of.
Or AA. Campo, number 4.
Booker T. The Bookman.
Can you dig that sucker?
I can, actually.
Caps, what do you got?
My number 4 is I caps this thing to the max. It's all the Luchadors.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the whole,
you know what? I'll allow that. I'll allow that.
It's all the
division.
I've never, to this day, nothing has been so entertaining than all the Luchadors.
It's funny
what they were able to do.
He walked in the office today and was like, I'm gonna caps this today, and he really did. That's the definition of caps.
But in all fairness, I kind of got to give that up because of the fact that yes, as entertaining as Nitro was, the best matches were always put on by those by the Luchadors.
I agree. Yeah,
fairness.
Puttyman.
All right, was it number 4?
4.
DDP, Dumb Dallas Page.
My number 4 is the same as you, Campo. Booker T.
Yes. Actually, speaking of Diamond Dallas Page, remember those they were kind of like a pillow, and they were like a wrestling buddy.
The wrestling buddies, yeah.
They would say words. I had DDP, and I had Hulk Hogan in the Hollywood Hogan. If I find them anywhere, I hope I have them. Actually, my dog ate them for sure back in the day. Dog's dead, by the way.
Wow.
Number 3. Jump right into number 3.
Dark.
Sorry,
number 3, Diesel, Kevin Nash, Big Sexy.
My number 3 is Savage.
My number 3 is Eddie Guerrero.
My number 3 is Lex Luger.
That's a strange one. We're coming back to that. My number 2 is, as much as he's on my Mount Rushmore of all-time greatest, but in this situation specifically for favorite in this era, it's Ric Flair.
My number 2, right? So that'll be Sting.
Well, I got that great. My number 2 is Sting as well.
Campo, once again, my number 2 is Ric Flair, just like yours.
Well, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if we're going all the way here with this, but my number 1 is definitely Sting.
We know who yours is.
I'm going back and forth right now. I don't know if I should name this person as my number one or I should caps this again. The original NWO. Hogan, Nash, Hall.
I will.
Just the three of
Okay,
them.
if he says just those three, I'll allow it, but I'm not allowing the NWO.
With Hall just above them.
What's the
by a
guy's
hair.
name?
Which one? Scott Norton?
No, the old black guy.
Oh, Virgil.
Virgil.
Just useless.
The only reason why they brought him in was because $1 Million Man had to give him a job.
Hey,
Yeah, right.
he's still better than Horace Hogan.
Horace Hogan. Oh my god. Which we didn't even touch upon in the last episode.
Yeah, I forgot. We forgot about Horace Hogan. We'll do a whole episode on retrospective on Horace Hogan.
Nepotism at its finest. Buddy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, if there was any guess.
Go ahead, everyone say it. Just say it.
Goldberg.
Yeah, Goldberg.
Oh,
go
we
ahead.
should have did that. That would have been cool. Would have been cool. Missed opportunity.
But yeah, Goldberg.
Oh shoot! Wait a minute. I got a new number one. Tori Wilson.
No. Then I have a new number one. Stacy Keibler.
Stratus.
Well,
No, I'm kidding. That's
my number one. If there's any doubt, it was Sting.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Did we have the last three all the same? We had the last four all the same.
No, I had Lex Luger as my number 3.
Oh, Lex Luger, yes.
Which nobody had.
Okay, so I'll give you my 5.
Yep.
Eddie Guerrero, DDP, Booker T, Kevin Nash, Ric Flair, Sting.
Tori Wilson.
I expect nothing
Right.
less.
No.
Alex Rodriguez.
Nice.
Flair, Luchadors, Savage, Sting, and original NWO with Hall beating them by a hair.
By that little curl at the front of it.
That little curl. By a toothpick. There you go.
By a
Nice.
toothpick,
So
there you
does that
go.
mean if he gets to say Tori Wilson for all 5, I could do the same thing with Goldberg? Yeah, right.
El Dandy.
Yeah, right. Rey Mysterio, DDP.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, right. Eddie Guerrero, Sting, and Goldberg.
DDP, Conan, number 5, Booker T, Lex Luger, Sting, Ric Flair and Sting.
All right, so I immediately don't want to let anybody else here talk. I need to know why Lex Luger is on this list.
Lex Luger, only because of what he meant to WCW Monday Nitro on that first episode at the Mall of America. He is someone that's always going to be associated with the WCW, not WWE, even though he was the narcissist for a while. And they tried to make him to the next Hulk Hogan. I just feel, for my list, it's guys that started in WCW and are WCW, not guys that have migrated over from WWE. I wanted to keep my list a little bit more focused on the WCW guys.
Well, he started in WWF.
No, he didn't. He went from
Lex-
WCW to
Yeah,
To
WWF
WWF? Oh,
Yeah,
did
he
he? I
did.
didn't know that.
He was a horseman.
for a while. Yeah.
Oh, he is a horrors man.
Oh, Horace. Well, just that's Miss Elizabeth. R.I.P.
Too soon, guy. Anyways,
I heard he had a bad attitude. Like he really had to motivate.
He really was a
him to-
narcissist.
Like, jeez. Have you ever seen that match between him and Bruiser Brody? Where he just shoots, like he
he shoots on it. That was hard to watch. That one was hard to watch.
he didn't know what to do.
No.
He didn't, like, Bruiser Brody just stopped selling for him.
Yeah, he just gave up.
And then
Yeah.
Luger's like looking at the refs, like, well, what do I do? And then he just climbed out of the cage and just walked to the back like it was nothing.
In all fairness, Luger was never the greatest worker. But in terms of when you associate WCW, that's why Luger is on my list. You can't not think of WCW and not think of Luger.
your
Sting's
explanation,
best friend.
your explanation makes it like you could have whatever you want on your list, but I get it what you're saying now, because to me I was thinking like no one really liked Lex Luger that much, and he wasn't that good of a wrestler. But I get what you're saying, and he's also like the beginning of the WWE takeover of WCW when that whole thing started happening.
He was one of the first people to jump ship. He was working for free with the WWF basically at the time, and WCW said, "Well, you don't have a contract. Why don't you just come by?"
Well,
I heard Bischoff didn't like him that much, and he took a pay cut to go to
Yeah.
WCW.
It
to
was
earn-
Sting. Yeah, Sting brought him in basically.
Okay, so now that I'm taking over your show,
Yeah.
Caps, I want to know why you have Macho Man, the WCW version, on your list.
Well, that's your problem.
You could have had El Dandy and you didn't choose him.
Well, I rectified that and I put Terry Wilson as my 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Anyway, Savage, he was just a workhorse. He was so entertaining and he was such a rebel and he had all the babes.
Except Tori Wilson.
Except Tori Wilson. You know what I mean? Is that
Yeah. And
satisfactory to you?
For Putty, why do you have Goldberg on your list? No.
Oh, really?
Let's not get into that for a third time.
Yeah, I don't have any questions about Putty's list.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was really close on my number 5 to having Chavo and Eddie, and then I was like, I can't not have DDP. Like DDP ended up becoming the whole company, especially in the later years. So
yeah, that's why DDP is there too. And same thing with Booker T. Why he's on my list too is because he basically carried a dead company for the last year of WCW.
He really built his character to like the point of where we know it in those
as the 5-time, yeah.
Actually, I had a question for you guys. You guys have like honorable mentions?
Oh yeah,
I do. Actually, Booker T is like, here was the problem. I was going to do a cap as well and do Booker T and Rey Mysterio. The reason Rey Mysterio got my attention is because before he, wait, what?
I love how it's just
a cap.
I didn't catch on. Sorry.
Okay, go continue.
But
we made it a thing.
Yeah, but it is. I do it every time now. But anyway, but the thing was, I love Booker T. But before Rey Mysterio took off his mask, there was so much energy to him that both him and Booker T had. And I was like, for some reason, I didn't want to do a cap on these. Sorry, I got to say it again. And I just wanted to play him. But I wanted to also say that he was my number 1 honor mention, even above Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, all of them, because Booker T was one of those people that first he didn't get the attention and love that I felt like he did. But then when they started giving him that attention, especially when WWE even did the same thing, you know what I mean? I was so proud. Like it was kind of like an honor, like, oh yay, finally you deserve this, you know what I mean? And that's something I felt DDP never even got in even WWE as well. You know what I mean? Like he never got even what the attention that Booker T got. So Booker T just had a lot of good energy and knew how to speak to the crowd. You know what I mean? And the eyes, the way he looked at people was just like I would not want to piss him off. Is basically what I'm saying. And if he looked at you like that, I'm like, oh crap, you mad?
Yeah, I mean, just on my outside there, I had Conan, Scott Hall, Macho Man. My 5th spot was really hard for me, but I feel like Eddie Guerrero, especially when the LWO happened, he became like a really solid package of his wrestling skill, his talking ability, and the way that he worked the crowd. And I felt like he deserved that. And Chavo was probably a better wrestler at that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, Eddie's more of the face of the family.
I find as great as Eddie was in WCW, I don't think he was there all that long. Well, he was there quite a long time, but Eddie will be known as the WWE, like I remember the whole Eddie versus Rey Mysterio feud in WWE at the time. Dominic, I'm your puppy.
Yeah.
And lie, cheat, and steal. I think he was a great wrestler in WCW, but that character really came out in WWE.
But without what we got in WCW, we don't get that. That's why he made my list.
Yeah.
I think this was it's like Booker T. This was the complete formation of what we know later. Without this, we don't get that. If you took Booker T, early years Booker T, and just put him in WWE, he's a nobody. He disappears.
Yep. But see, that's the thing. That's why I think why Eddie Guerrero got 3 and Rey Mysterio got 5 was because I love the chemistry between the two. And I think because my head was clouded so much that I did merge the WWE years with the WCW years. But it was just, I loved that chemistry. You know what I mean? Like for some reason in my head, I just saw Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio type of the guys that just went and drink beers and just hung out outside of wrestling. Even though a lot of wrestlers did that,
Eddie
they just were that good. Yeah, that's my point.
He beat people up too.
Like I wanted to be their best friends. I wanted to be the third person in their crew to hang out with. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed like it'd be so fun just to be around those two. You know what I mean?
Isn't he the one isn't Eddie Guerrero the one that they got into the argument at the bar and everyone left because the Giant was like gonna fight, and then Eddie Guerrero got in his face and he's like, "I'll fight you right now."
I'll fight you right now. Yeah, he stood up to the Giant. To me, though, like going back to what you were saying about Rey Mysterio, he was my number one honorable mention, but I didn't put him on the list only because I didn't like the direction they took him after he lost the mask and the way he lost the mask to Kevin Nash.
I didn't like that either. And he never carried a lot of weight as a character in WCW. As good as he was, he had no weight to that character.
But again, for me,
he was just a guy who could go for 15, 20 minutes and give you an excellent match without any mistakes.
Yeah.
But I think that's what you guys notice, even with my listener, I think that's the thing I always loved was it was never the presentation of like the backstage or the thing. For me, it was always just the presence they had in the ring during the match or just in general coming to the match. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Rey Mysterio, again, I would have actually traded him with Eddie Guerrero if it wasn't for the unmasking. The unmasking of Rey Mysterio upset me so badly. I did not want to see what he looked like. Like I wanted it to be like that forever. Like I felt like that was something like with Kane the same way. I loved Kane.
Yeah, the demasking of Kane, I agree with that.
I heard Rey Mysterio didn't want to do that.
He didn't.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
That was Kevin Nash. That was all Nash.
Yep.
That was all Kevin Nash.
And that upset me.
To me though, personally, in that era, I would rather have Guerrero or Psychosis than Rey Mysterio.
Yeah,
well, that's why Eddie Guerrero got above. Again,
no, Juventud. He's talking about Juventud.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Guerrero, not Guerrero. He was really good.
Yeah,
and those guys brought like this really high intensity to the stage, and they stayed in their lane, kind of, if that makes sense. Where Rey Mysterio got pushed to like a weird place, like a Kevin Nash thing, and it was like he didn't belong there yet. He wasn't that guy yet.
And there was that whole thing where is he going to join the LWO and all that? Like, remember they tried to do a sting with Rey Mysterio about joining the LWO, and that didn't work out. They should have the cruiserweights should have just stuck to their own thing and just put on amazing matches instead of trying to get into these convoluted storylines. It just didn't suit them.
Yeah, especially because then after, as kind of fun and goofy as the LWO was, it got mismanaged. And they just kind of got brushed aside and nobody cared about them anymore.
When they could have been
amazing. And you could have had guys defect from NWO and just join the LWO and make them like the next thing. But there's like, it's crazy to me at that time. But like I said, it was like buddies being together and too many chefs in the kitchen that these things got looked over, because nowadays there's no way you're going to overlook that angle. You would have WWE would have pushed that forever.
They did. Just look at Lucha House Party right now in WWE.
I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing it's the same thing.
People who watch wrestling will understand that one, but yeah, it's the same idea. The only unmasking to me that made sense was the Jericho versus Juventud. That was a traditional hair versus, like in Mexico, there is always that hair versus mask match, right? Jericho lost, he cut his hair. Jericho wins, Juventud loses the mask. And I think that was the only time that losing the mask worked. One thing I'll say is I'm glad La Parka never lost the mask, because that character would have never been the same without the mask. But when you lose that mask, you lose some sort of the mystique behind the character. I feel like Psychosis was never the same. Really, Juventud was really the only one that was able to thrive a little bit without the mask. But even then, you lose some of that mystique behind it.
He kind of became like a Kidman-esque person after he lost the mask.
Yeah.
Like he kind
of imitate The Rock. He was imitating The Rock.
Yes, he was. He thought he was The Rock for a while. He'd go to the turnbuckle. Yeah.
Did he do that? I don't know.
Yeah, if you smell what the juice is cooking.
Yeah, if you smell what the juice is cooking.
He was taking his lines, too.
Yeah. I think that's the reason why when Jericho went over to WWE, The Rock says to him, he goes, I don't give a rat's ass who you are. Last week you were battling some jabroni named Juventud or something.
They screwed this up in a major way. Like I'm going back to, we didn't even talk about this in that episode, but WCW's biggest error was constantly paying attention to what they were doing in WWE and acknowledging it on air. You like WWE didn't even acknowledge your existence, and WCW should have done the same thing.
Well, when everybody changed the channel, when Eric Bischoff said Mick Foley, Mankind was winning the belt.
Yeah.
And everybody changed the channel. We didn't even touch on that one in the last episode.
I was more disappointed over the fact that we didn't talk about Tori Wilson.
I mean, we didn't talk about Stacy Keibler either, and she's married to George Clooney. So,
Was.
I mean, was or is?
Who cares?
Was.
So she's single, is what you're saying.
Well, all I know is George Clooney married some other model.
Anyways, just George Clooney. He could do whatever he wants. He had bad nipples.
Bad nipples. At least the Schumacher cut.
And
Yeah,
a back
or
and the back and the
hashtag
back
issue
credit
on
card too. Don't forget about that. So
That credit card.
I really wish
And
that
hockey
like
skates.
I want like the gayest version of Batman possible.
Off topic.
I want to have a whole episode talking about that. But no, I digress from wrestling.
What is it? The Batman? Is there? Which was the comic with the Batman in the rainbow suit?
I don't know, but I don't even know what he's called in that.
No. There's like
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the rainbow suit, but it's
Yeah.
because he went into like a prism or something,
Yeah,
and he got all the colors of the rainbow. But I don't remember what his name is.
I want to see. I want to see that movie.
I'll watch that movie. I'll basically watch anything if Batman's in
Anything with
it.
Batman.
Even the Hogan porn.
Hogan dresses Batman. I'm Hogan.
What you gonna do, brother? Joker brother.
What you gonna
I
do
don't have
when the
anything
Batman
else.
comes through to you?
No. Anybody got some other honorable mentions before we head on out?
Anybody
just-
want a peanut?
No, everything you guys said, Scott. I did put Scott Steiner on there just because of his.
I hate you.
The reason I did it though is not because I actually liked him as a wrestler. It was just he was so over exaggerated that when he got his ass whipped, that I just enjoyed it. So you know,
what's funny? We were talking and I forgot. Someone cut me off before I could let the zinger go. But someone was like, Scott Steiner was crazy, and I was gonna be like, yeah, he was crazy. His brother was a dog. Do you remember when his brother was a dog?
Dog face. The dog face. Yeah.
I remember. Yeah. Oh, it's
I
hilarious.
think we wouldn't be amiss without like someone like say the Giant, but like again, a lot of these guys, Giant, Vader, these were all guys like that started. Like Vader was already huge at the time in Japan.
Yeah.
But Vader had some great matches in WCW, meant a lot to that company. Totally mismanaged and booked completely incorrectly when he got to WWE.
Yeah, WCW had it right for him to treat him like a Goldberg-esque character that was
A monster
Yeah.
just that destroys everybody.
I mean, shout out to not Cactus Jack. What was he at that point?
Yeah, he was Cactus Mick Foley. Cactus
Dude
Jack.
Love. Wasn't he Dude Love?
No, yeah, he was Cactus Jack.
He was Cactus Jack in WCW.
Yeah,
When he
I
lost his ear.
Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm thinking.
he was a good wrestler in WCW as well.
Yeah.
In that early era.
But it amazes me how a lot of these guys started off there and their character wasn't just there yet, but eventually turned into something phenomenal. Like,
I mean, Mankind is
even
the
though AJ
perfect,
Styles did start in WCW as well.
Mankind is the perfect example of Vince McMahon not understanding what you can do and instead trying to make you what he wants you to be. And then once the character kind of stopped, once he got with The Rock and he became like he got over, once he got over, he realized like I can just let Mick Foley do whatever he wants and people are gonna love it.
Yeah,
like,
the whole Mrs. Foley's baby boy.
Yeah, exactly.
The three faces of Mick Foley.
Now, I know we had trouble bringing up maybe of things we talked a lot already, but there is one thing I want to ask because there was one wrestler. I liked him as a wrestler, but then no,
Tori Wilson.
Tori Wilson. Yeah, I liked him as a wrestler, but then the controversy of what he did really, really overshadowed what I did love about him. But then I hated him so much, and everyone else did. And it's a very controversial. But we got to bring up so a lot of viewers don't mind. I know Chris Benoit. Like, how did you guys?
And that's
feel?
all the time we have.
Yeah, see, I knew that was going to be
joining us.
Hey, listen, I hate what happened, and no one ever talks about it. But when he was through that whole situation, in WCW and all that kind of stuff, there was good matches. He was good technical wrestler.
He was a great wrestler.
If you want to talk about him only as a wrestler and never ever about him as a person, he was a fantastic wrestler.
He's one of the best wrestlers.
One of the best wrestlers of all time.
I was at that WCW show here at the Air Canada Center where him and Bret Hart fought in that the final match for the WCW when he won his first WCW World Championship.
There was some matches between Jericho and Benoit that were so good that they're like they go down as the greatest matches ever.
And it made me so angry.
The Rabid Wolverine, they called him, right?
Yep. Again, I just wanted to say it made me so mad because to know that a person was that good as a wrestler could have that thought and do what he did.
Well, anyone could do that in anything. That's the way you got to look
at
it.
Yeah, and I understand that. And that's the reason why we never brought it up. And I feel like, we need to bring it up, even though it's an elephant in the room. You know what I mean? We're always going to avoid it. But it's like, I hate saying that to myself because there was great matches with him, but he was an amazing talent.
He definitely was an amazing talent. At one time, he was probably like my favorite wrestler.
That's what made me mad.
There was an era here where it's crazy to say it, but like as far as technicality in wrestling goes, maybe 5 or 6 of the best wrestlers in the whole world were Canadian. You had Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, and then a little bit later you got Edge and
Christian.
Christian.
Dynamite Kid too, bro.
Dynamite Kid's British though.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I don't mean that's an insult. I mean, like, he deserves to be on that list.
Yeah. But I mean, add Davey Boy Smith to that because technically he got his Canadian citizenship when he married Bret's sister.
No, but like I'm talking about, like we're talking about technical wrestlers. I mean, like Dynamite Kid, he was very good.
Well, I mean, Dynamite Kid, you wouldn't have a Chris Benoit if you didn't have the Dynamite Kid. In terms of technical wrestling.
That's a
lot of Benoit's moveset was taken, like the diving headbutt. That was Billington's move, Dynamite Kid, right? And then
he modeled everything after him anyway.
Yeah. But you're going back to Usain Campbell. Yeah, at one time, all the best technical wrestlers were Canadian. They really were, or they came out of Canada, out of like Stu's Dungeon kind of thing.
Yeah. So I don't have anything else.
Yeah. Anybody else got any more out of match? We'll keep this one short after the length of the last one.
Yeah, I have nothing.
Pamela Paulchuk. Now I remember her name.
Which one? Who?
Look, she was an interviewer in WCW. Pamela Paulchuk.
Pamela Paulchuk. Yes, I do remember the name.
I remember her now.
WCW had some good announcers. We didn't talk well in the last one.
Yes. Larry Zbyszko and Bobby Heenan.
My boy Bobby.
I remember when he broke down when Gorilla passed away. He was like, do you remember when he freaked out on Brian Pillman?
Yes.
What the is wrong with you? Don't touch me.
Don't touch me. Oh my God. No, my favorite was still Conan with Mean Gene. He's like, look at this. Touch it. That's enough.
Oh jeez, I forgot about that.
Well, Cap, I think you should look up Tori Wilson. I think you like her. Yeah.
I think you should look up Goldberg.
I will.
I think you'd like her.
While I go look up El Dandy.
I'm just gonna go look up Stacy Keibler while you guys,
All right, guys. On that note, we'll keep this one short and sweet. Thanks again for joining us, guys, and we'll see you next time.
El Dandy.